I was just moving parts over from the blown engine for the black car onto the new one that's going into it, and swapped out the injectors because I had sent them in to have them cleaned. I figured I'd stop and make just a quick tip video on this. So these are original stock injectors. They're roughly 20 years old, 21 years old, going in. And I sent them in to RC Fuel Injection. That's these guys up here in Southern California, at the suggestion of the great Donnie York, who also did this engine rebuild for me. And so anyway, what's kind of cool about what these guys do is they throw them on a bench tester, and they'll actually show you what they look like before. So when you send them in, so you can see how many cc's per minute each injector was flowing. And you can see they were pretty far out of balance, actually. And then what the pattern looked like for each injector. And then you can slide over and see what they look like now after cleaning, and then what the pattern looks like. So you can see I had a good to fair pattern before. The pattern is excellent now, but the flow is substantially higher and more balanced. So I'm between 250 and 253 cc's. So that's pretty cool. And then down here at the bottom, they'll show you, at least like theoretically, what kind of power those injectors are capable of making. So it's at 80% duty cycle at a specific brake fuel consumption. So this is at 0.65 on the brake fuel consumption. You'll see that it was capable theoretically of 213.7 horsepower. And now with the cleaned injectors, about 236 horsepower. So with these injectors, these were out of the 2001. I had just thrown them uncleaned, unserviced into spec racing, and I ran them that way for quite a while. The engine made plenty of power, but I'm really curious to see what it'll do now that supposedly I've got a better pattern and more even flow. So that's probably better. So first quick tip is to send your injectors in and get them cleaned, since they've been probably in your car for a while. Second thing is that I'm told, although I don't have the data on this, that the cylinders in the rear of the engine have a tendency to run lean. I guess logically that might kind of make sense, because you've got air entering the throttle body up here in the front, kind of flowing back, and then eventually it just hits a wall back here in these rearward cylinders. So the pressure might be just a little bit higher. We might get a little bit more airflow back there. So the other quick tip is to take your higher flowing injectors and put them back here. So if you've got 253 cc injectors, go ahead and match them up back here, and then lighten the load up and put your 250 cc ones up in the front where the cylinder would run a little bit more rich. That way you'll balance it out. The computer, unfortunately, is not smart enough to read each individual cylinder. So really it's just looking at the average oxygen sensor output from the right bank and the left bank and tuning that way. So it doesn't really understand if one of these injectors is flowing a little bit less or a little bit more than the other. So anyway, take your higher flowing injectors, put them in the back, and that'll protect the rearward cylinders from a lean condition, maybe save your rings.